There's no such thing as failure that you can't come back from. And this is how I felt my way to a profitable business.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
What's up, icons? It's the iconic fashion figure back with a new video. And today is going to be a little bit of story time. I'm sharing the backstory of how I felt my way into a profitable business, because I don't know one successful person that hasn't experienced some type of failure. If they tell you that they didn't fail, I can almost promise you they're lying to you. So let me start from the very beginning. It all started back in high school. No, I'm joking. I'm not going that far back. But the first time that I actually decided to become this entrepreneur, I started back when I was living in LA. I want to say I was still in college then too. I don't even remember. That's how long it's been. I feel old now. But I started a business. The name of it was called Trending Topics. And I pretty much just sold whatever was trending at the moment. This was like the height of social media. I want to say MySpace had already disappeared at that point, but everyone was into Facebook and all these other social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, all this stuff started popping up. It was all about what was trending. You know, hashtags were huge then. The explore page was huge. Whatever was trending at that moment, that's what people wanted. So that was the business I started then. But I didn't take it serious, to be honest with you, because like I said, I was still in school then. It was more like a side hustle. But I knew eventually at some point I wanted to work for myself. So that was the start of it for me. I won't say that that was 100% failure, since I did make money, and it's just that I didn't take it serious, so I didn't give it 100% like I could have. Nowadays, I kind of look back at it like, dang, I could have done so much more with that. I could have been successful a lot sooner had I taken that more seriously. But whatever, that's a thing of the past. It was an excellent experience and a good learning experience for me. Then from there, I went into where I was doing more of like the prom and evening wear, and I did some kids too. Mind you, all of this I'm designing. So in the beginning, I did a lot of custom work. I love doing that, but custom work can get really frustrating, especially when you might have a vision for something, your customer has a vision for something, and it's like, I want to do what the customer wants because they're the ones buying this. It's their custom work, but a lot of the time their custom work was just what everyone else was already doing. And when it comes to my designs, I want it to be creative and do my own thing. You can't do that with every customer, and just dealing with all the attitudes got frustrating. But anyway, that's not even the failure part of that one. My lesson in that business was when I decided to do a fashion show that I paid my own money for, and it was a big fail. When I tell you that was such a waste of money, I mean, I got a good few pictures of that fashion show, that's about it. But if I can go back and do it over again, I would have never paid my money for that, especially on those dresses, because I had really good designs, but it didn't get the exposure needed. Some of my designs didn't even make it onto the runway. It wasn't a good experience. I'm just gonna say that. So that was my next hurdle at being this entrepreneur that I'm trying to be. Now, from there, you know, I still did my designs on the side, but I more so focused on work in the industry, so that way I can learn how these other companies are running their business. Every job I took, I had a purpose for. I didn't take a job just for a check. I took it because I wanted to learn. Like, there was something on social media where someone had made the comment like, if you are trying to break into an industry or start a career, to offer your service for free. And a lot of people bashed this lady, talking about, we are not in slavery, ain't nobody working for free, blah blah blah. I'm gonna be the one to actually agree with her, and here's why I say that. It's not necessarily free, and she didn't even say for free, she just said free or low paying. And that's initially what I did in the beginning. My very first job in the industry, I was probably one of the lowest paid in that company, and I knew it. Actually, when I made my offer, I actually offered lower than what they actually started me at, because they came to me and said, we know we can pay you a little more. But my whole thought process, for one, I was fresh out of college. I kid you not, I had graduated that same year. So it was more of a learning experience for me on top of being a job. Two, this was my foot into the door. So if I gotta take the low paying position, I will, because I know what I'm capable of. I know my work ethic, and I know that I won't be stuck in this low paying position forever. And sure enough, I was promoted after like 3 months and I was making more money. And then it got to the point where I was literally at the top of the food chain, like making some of the most money in that company, sitting at the table with the CEO and the COO. They're asking me my advice on how to make their company better. So trust me, she wasn't wrong with what she said. I think the way she said it, especially since she made that jab at people on unemployment, that was wrong. But don't be afraid, because you want to look at it more like a learning experience. So that was me. I did that. I took every job with a purpose, because I knew if I wanted to run my own business, I needed to know every aspect of the business. I always felt like there's no way I can run a business without knowing how to do every position, because I would feel some type of way if I had to hire somebody to teach me how to run my own company. Like, that seems a little weird. I'm supposed to be training you on how I do things here. And then of course, if you have any ideas on how to make it better, sure, share your input on that, but I'm not bringing you in to teach me how to run my business. I'm bringing you in and I'm going to train you how I do things. So that was always my purpose with every job I took. I looked at every company as, what can they offer me? Forget them asking me in interviews, what can I do for them? I already know I can take your business from 0 to 100 real quick, but what can you do for me? That was always my mindset before I walked into any interview. I promise y'all, like, I'm not even joking. So anyway, I worked the industry for a few years just so I can learn it. And then that's when I started Nouveau Riche, but as a boutique. I was still working when I started, so I was doing it on the side, but I knew this was about to be, you know, my breakthrough. Like, I'm ready to start branching off and working on my own. So I started it as a boutique, and let me tell y'all, it's not easy starting. For those of you that already started, you know, it's not easy in the beginning at all. But I also knew the boutique wasn't serving the purpose that I needed. Yeah, it was making me money on the side because I was doing it as a side thing while I still had a full-time job, but it wasn't like my passion. Like, I was okay doing it, but I wasn't loving it. So I did the boutique thing for about a year, and then that's when I switched over to wholesale. And again, doing the wholesale starting out, I can't say that's 100% easy either, because it's not. It's all difficult when you're being an entrepreneur. So my first year doing wholesale with Nouveau Riche, I think I had one order that first year. I started in 2018 as wholesaling, and I started maybe the first show I went to was like in May when I was sourcing everything out. I didn't actually launch until August. So between August when I actually launched and through December, because technically I started the business earlier in the year, that part was just more like the research and figuring everything out. May was when I started the sourcing. August was when I actually launched. So by December of 2018, I had one order. One order, I think it was like $900 though, so I can't complain, but my first year in business, I made $900. Is pretty much what I can say. So not a lot at all. I actually had a part-time job. It was supposed to be full-time, but a part-time job to help me cover my bills, because who the heck is living off $900 a year? Not me. Definitely not me. So that was my first year. I'm being brutally honest with you guys so you can see what it is really like. But I didn't stop there. Second year, so this was 2019. I think I only did like $20,000 for the whole year as a wholesaler. So again, not enough for me to live off. I guess depending on what city you live in, you might be able to do like the bare minimum off of that, but not enough for me to live off of. $20,000 wasn't enough, but that was my year 2. Last year, which was year 3 for me, is when I actually made a profit, and this is where I made my money. Like, last year was a really good year for me. This was like my breakthrough on my business. But let me just tell you, before I even got to my breakthrough where I actually had an excellent year, I took loss after loss. I lost money on canceled orders, on lost packages, like, you know, shipped out and then somehow they went MIA. I lost money on false disputes, people saying that they didn't receive their order even though the tracking shows it was delivered. I had a full shipment of product that was stolen, and I know who did it. I tried to get it back, but that girl purposely avoided me. Trust me, like, I even went crazy. I'm banging on doors and everything trying to get my stuff back because I know she stole it. But I lost that entire shipment. I just had to take a loss on it. There was nothing I can do, and that was a huge loss. Of course, I had some products that would just sit. They didn't move, which means I'm not making money on them if they're still just sitting. I did promotions, like promo offers, that actually backfired on me. So instead of me making money off of them, I actually lost money on them. I thought it was a good promo, and then then realize I'm pretty much giving away stuff. So trust me, I took loss after loss, and that is frustrating. Like, those losses really make you want to give up. But with all of that said, the one thing I did not do was give up. I just kept going regardless of whatever loss I took, whatever failure I experienced. I didn't give up. There's no way I'm giving up. I kept going. But what I did do was I learned from my mistakes. So I learned to change up my cancellation, my refund policy that works for a small business, because I'm not these big box stores. I can't offer what some of these other people offer. And then I also had to understand I'm wholesale now, not retail. Remember, I switched from retail to wholesale, so I had to change that up. I started doing signature on all packages, so I don't have to worry about people saying that they didn't receive their package. You signed for it. And then I also left USPS alone, so the post office, because that lost package stuff was just crazy. Completely done with them. I actually, knock on wood, have not had a lost package since then. I don't let any of my packages coming in be left unattended, and that partially happened because I became really close with my drivers. So like, even during the pandemic, when they weren't supposed to have contact with us when delivering, my drivers didn't care. They did it for me because I became like this with them. They looked out for me. I learned to analyze my products better, how they're selling, and if they're not selling, learning to jump quickly to get them to sell. So whatever it is I need to do, promos, campaigns, whatever, or do a quick sell-off to move that product, I learned how to really analyze what it was that I was doing with my products and how they were selling. And then as far as the promo stuff, I really learned to figure out my promos, and before even launching a promo, putting something out there, what is it going to do for me? Where's the loopholes in this where I can potentially take a loss instead of a win? Really just analyzing everything before I make any type of moves. And then one of the best things I could have done for my business is just listening to my customers. And I still, to this day, listening to my customers. So I hear them out on what they need for their business and what improvements I can make to my business that'll help them out. I have no problem with them giving me any tips or advice on improvement, because it makes the experience better for them, which in return will make it better for me anyway. So trust me when I tell you, this whole process is not easy. And even after, like, because I've hit 4 years already. This year I hit 4, and I can't say one year is easier than the other. They all can get really tough. You're going to go through hurdle after hurdle. It doesn't matter where in your business you are. You just have to make sure whatever you do, you don't give up. Follow that gut feeling. When you're making any decisions for your business, feel things out. It's weird because you'll get to a point where you just know, okay, this is not the right time to do it. This is the right time. Let time tell. You'll know when it's time to make a move or when to do a certain thing, because time is telling you, okay, time to push forward. Don't make that move right now. This is not a good time to do it. You might need to hire because you need help. You might need to let people go because this year is going to be a little tough. Time will tell. Just go with the flow and do not give up. So now that you've heard my story, next week I'm going to give you the inside scoop. You're going to get the inside scoop of how to turn your business profitable and how to get those daily sales. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.